Hey guys, Blue Flame Studios here. Like my new setup? I want to warn that this will be my last long-form video on YouTube until the update of August 13th has settled down. For those of you who don't know, because this has been flying under people's radar for a while now, YouTube is enacting an AI that is going to look at a person's search history, longevity of one's account, and other variables that are not exclusively stated to guess the person's age. At least that's the TLDR of the whole situation. As an adult female who is about to turn 21 this December, I do not want to give my personal information to any virtual company, especially as a VTuber. I take pride in being able to run my channel without showing my face. Another reason that I will be taking a break is because shortly after this update is to happen, I will also be entering the fall semester at my local college and would rather deal with the reality of academics than an AI-driven world. AKA, I would rather touch grass than deal with the whole situation. But to briefly give my opinion, and yes, I will deep dive this topic in the future, depending on how much censorship that will happen on YouTube afterwards, let me preface this. Do I like that update? No. Do I think it's reasonable? No. Do I agree with this? Absolutely not. It isn't safe for kids, and it doesn't keep anybody safe. At the end of the day, it is just more of a reason for hackers and data brokers to gain people's information all in one spot. Like I said, depending on how much censorship happens on YouTube afterwards, it will depend if I will be able to actually deep dive into this topic later. But if I can, I definitely will. Trust me on that. So much for internet safety. Oh well, but all that aside, I hope you enjoy this Q&A regardless of how crazy our world is. All the questions provided and featured in this video were from my lovely little stars in my Discord community server, which you can join in the description of this video. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Who is your favorite pony in MLP? On previous live streams, I have mentioned that I have watched the show My Little Pony when I was a child. In fact, it is still a show I look back upon fondly and will rewatch every now and then for the sake of nostalgia. This show, for real, is a staple in my childhood. But if I had to choose a character that I gravitated toward the most, it would be a tie between Princess Luna and Applejack from My Little Pony. What character from any piece of media has been the most inspirational / influential in your life? Okay, you said any media. Obviously, Jesus Christ from the Bible. Amen, brother. But if I actually had to choose a character from outside of the Bible, I would choose the character Moses from The Prince of Egypt, animated by DreamWorks. What's your favorite anime? Personally, my favorite anime is the Isekai, The Rising of the Shield Hero. It is literally the only isekai that I've watched where I have found that the protagonist actually has a personality. That, and it's actually funny. What's your favorite letter in the alphabet? Surprisingly enough, my favorite letter is actually Z. That's because in the English dialect, it's not used very often. At least that I'm aware of. What is your second least favorite song? Honestly, at this point, any Taylor Swift song. And this is coming from somebody who used to listen to Taylor Swift. But ever since she has gotten political, it's left a bad taste in my mouth. Even some of her old country songs. Which I should preface by saying, I'm not saying that she's a bad singer. Far from it, she's a very talented singer. It's just ever since she left country music, her music has gotten darker. And I'd rather not listen to that. What is an interesting fact or detail about one of your worlds that probably won't show up in the story? It could be something that's entirely for flavor, or maybe even something that does influence the story, but doesn't directly show up or have much relevance to the plot. Well, this would be a massive lore drop, but there's actually more than one species of ethereal. Sure, there's fire, which is what I am, but there's also earth, air, and water, which if more people are interested, I'd be more than happy to share some of those details. But in order to do that, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe then I'll consider it. What's your favorite book of the Bible? My favorite book is Revelation, mainly because of the mysteries surrounding it, and because, well, it's a prophecy book. And like any good prophecy book, its foretelling of the future has always intrigued me. I guess we'll see what happens. Dream vacation spot? An expansion of that could be what's a place you've been to before and would love to go back to. I actually haven't been on vacation in years, But if I had the opportunity to go, I would go to Disney World in Orlando, Florida, with the goal of seeing Pandora and Animal Kingdom. But if I had the option of going somewhere I hadn't been before, it would be to Scotland. Or Egypt, depending on the price. If you could commission any indie animator or animation studio to produce one of your series, who would be the dream team for the job? If I could, I would hire Phil Vidger and Aaron Blaze for the job. Both have worked for Disney in the past and now are independent animators. If you could pick a superpower, no matter how OP it is, what would you choose? For me, it would be drawing creation, the power to create objects and beings by drawing. Oh wait, I already do that. If you could ask God any one question about anything ever, what would you ask? Probably the one question that would be on everyone's mind. Why did you put the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden if you knew the serpent was there and was going to tempt Adam and Eve to fall, to start sin in the very first place? I mean, if you think about it, he could have prevented it. Whether through rapture or my death, I'll have the opportunity eventually, and I'll be able to talk with him one-on-one on not just that, but other things. Do you prefer sweet or savory foods? Personally, it depends on my mood, but I prefer savory foods. Where were you on the night of April 12th, 2015? Sleeping. Which of your characters would be the most likely to die of laughter over something? Knowing my characters, I would be the one to die first before they ever had the chance to prove otherwise. Speaking of characters, if you had the opportunity to meet one in person, who would you be the most excited to meet? Nobody important, Tornado. Why? Just why? Better question is, why not? If you could learn any language, what would it be and why? If I could, I would learn Scottish Gaelic, mainly because it's just so pretty. That and not talked about often. What's the one series you'd be super into and interested in if it weren't for one or two problems it had that kept you from enjoying it to the fullest or at all? For me, if it wasn't so bland or politically in your face, I would say I'd like some of the Star Wars stuff that's been coming out recently. On the flip side, about a series you feel like you'd be into or show interest in, but haven't gotten around to checking it out. Personally, I haven't seen anything about the Dark Crystal just yet, but I do want to at some point. If you had to be stranded on a desert island with two fictional people, who would it be and why? If I had to be stranded, I would love to be stranded with Guinevere Smith and Damien Smith. Both characters are resourceful, and it's just fun to see them bicker. Reality TV, am I right? And there's no better reality TV than between two siblings, especially two siblings who are fighting over resources. What's one thing you know now that you wish you could have learned when you were younger? Despite how much you want to help people, you can't always help everybody. And you can't protect them either. Sometimes they're going to hurt themselves. And it's not your fault when they do. What's your favorite song? AKA the one you've listened to more than any other. According to Spotify, it's this one. What's your opinion on AI art? I absolutely hate it. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. AI art is just quote-unquote art that is a mashup of already posted IP on various places in the internet, which AKA is plagiarism. And to those who use AI to make art, I bet you don't realize that a lot of that art that is being generated to you has been trained on artists who have not given their consent for their art to be used in training the AI model. And if you're not an artist, you could just simply commission somebody to do the art for you. You don't have to rely on a computer to do that for you. Or, at the very least, you can also just pick up a pencil and learn for yourself how to do the art. It will actually be more beneficial to you if you do one of the two. Just please don't do AI. Your preference on Apple or Android? As someone who has dealt with Apple and Android products, I would say that I would prefer an Android phone, but when it comes to Apple, I would prefer the iPad for drawing. What's your favorite kind of cheese? Mozzarella or American? What's the highest number you've ever had to count to, and why? I'm gonna be completely honest, I do not remember. Then again, numbers and math are not my strong suit. There is a reason why I chose to be an artist rather than a mathematician. So do not trust me to do any taxes for you, or else the IRS will be at your door. I'm surprised they haven't been at my door yet. What is your connection to the moon? Honestly, I don't know. I've always just been sort of fascinated with the moon and just often take pictures of it. Also, the moon is just a perfect symbolism of change and how to reflect light, which I hope I reflect the light of Jesus every time I interact with anybody. And to those asking why I always sound happy, it's not me. It's Jesus. That's the light I'm talking about. Do you ever plan to make a multi-part series on a video game, preferably a long horror game? Yes, I do plan to make one, but first I have to find one that's age appropriate for my channel. How many donuts have you eaten in your lifetime? 10 plus? 100 plus? If we're talking about regular whole donuts, probably 10 plus in my entire lifetime. I do not like eating a lot of sweets. But if we are talking about the donuts called Munchkins, little balls, I would say I've had over 100 at this point. My favorites being the jelly-filled ones. Oh, they're so good. Are you more of a rice or a noodle kind of person? Depends on which one has the yum-yum sauce. Otherwise, I like both. If you could get any music artist / band to make a theme and or soundtrack for any said series, who would you pick? Sticking with Moonflame lore here, I would either choose the band Smash Into Pieces or Skillet. What's your favorite setting genre, i.e. high / medium / low fantasy, cyberpunk, space, opera, alt history, etc.? Honestly, the examples are pretty good, but if I had to choose a fantasy I like writing in, I would probably choose a medium to low fantasy. But if I had to choose a second favorite, it would be cyberpunk, mixed with a bit of alternate history and space. But at the end of the day, I like every type of setting. It just depends on the writing with said setting. See you later, alligator, or after a while, crocodile. See you later, alligator. Origin is defined as anything and everything and nothing at all at the same time. Would you rather Morgan Freeman narrate your life or have the Star Wars theme song play every time you enter a room? May the force be with you. What's your full social security? No. But with that, I do believe that's enough questions for one day. But with that last question, I probably should talk about internet safety next time. Once again, thank you to the community Discord server for giving me some questions to answer. Anyways, peace, love, and stay awesome. Shine on, little stars. Shine on. And God bless.